So your team did it. You actually pulled it off. You earned your NABH accreditation. After all that hard work, all those long hours, that is a moment to really, truly celebrate. It is a massive win. But after the confetti settles, there's always that one big question that hangs in the air. You've just crossed the finish line of a marathon, only to find out it was just the qualifier for an even bigger race. So, now what? All right. Let's get into it. This next phase is what we're calling the race after the win. And listen, this isn't about adding more pressure. It's about harnessing that incredible winning momentum to build something that's truly built to last. Here is the #1 biggest risk after any major victory: complacency. It's that very human feeling of, phew, we did it, we can relax now. But here's the thing about healthcare. If you're standing still, you are actually falling behind. So why do you have to keep running? Well, because healthcare doesn't take a day off. It's always changing. Adapting to new tech and what patients need, that's not just a good idea, it's absolutely essential. This constant forward motion is what stops complacency in its tracks and helps you get ahead of risks before they become real problems. And most importantly, it locks in that culture of patient safety that got you accredited in the first place, which all leads to the one thing that truly matters: better outcomes and healthier, happier patients. When you boil it all down, it's really a simple choice. Is your hospital going to be static, complacent, a little risky, and eventually outdated? Or is it going to be dynamic, proactive, safe, and constantly evolving? The path you take right now really defines your future. Okay, so this brings us to the formal side of things, how you maintain that level of excellence. And I want you to think of this not as some scary audit, but more like a strategic health checkup for your entire organization. The official term for it is reassessment. It's basically a periodic check-in by NABH. They're just verifying that you're still hitting all the standards and keeping up with your quality improvement projects, your QIPs. In other words, it's the process that proves that fancy certificate on your wall is a reflection of what you do every single day. And this reassessment, it isn't a surprise. It happens on a very predictable rhythm, a 3-year cycle. So the question is, how do you get ready? So how do you prepare? Well, success here is not about a last-minute scramble. It's about having a solid game plan from day one. Let's walk through the 5 essential steps. You see, having the right playbook turns that 3-year cycle from something you dread into a recurring opportunity to get even better. Okay, here's that 5-step playbook. First, you prepare. This means you're running your own internal audits, no surprises. Second, you go through the official audit with confidence. Third, and this is key, you analyze the findings. This isn't a report card, it's a goldmine of insights. Fourth, you embed continuous quality improvement, or CQI. You're using data to constantly hunt for and launch new improvements. And finally, number 5, engage. Your leadership has to be all in, providing the support and resources to make this whole cycle turn. But look, a playbook, no matter how good it is just a piece of paper without the right foundation. The real secret ingredient, the thing that makes all of this actually happen, is your culture. The source material just puts this so perfectly. It's a simple but incredibly powerful idea. Lasting quality is never built on top-down orders. It's built on open communication and getting your staff involved at every single level of the organization. So what's that blueprint for culture actually look like in practice? Well, you foster innovation everywhere. You recognize and you reward people for their quality initiatives. You empower the folks on the front lines to solve the problems they see every day. You use data not just for reports, but to monitor what's happening right now. And through it all, leadership isn't just present, they are visibly and actively supportive. When you do that, a checklist becomes a shared mindset. So as we wrap this up, it is so important that we reframe how we think about what achievement really means when it comes to healthcare quality. So here it is, the biggest takeaway of all. That NABH accreditation, it was never the finish line. It was the starting line. It was the proof that you are ready for the real race, the never-ending journey towards safer, better care for every single patient. And that leaves us with one final thought. Just for a second, forget the big 3-year plan. What is the one small, tiny improvement your team can start working on tomorrow? Because true excellence isn't built in giant leaps. It's built one consistent step at a time. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.